Doing this the whole time. Hi, everybody. I am so excited to be coming at you this Thursday evening to talk about our self-care download. We are in week 6, and we have an incredible guest with us here tonight that I'm so excited to introduce to you. But before I do, and before we get into our topic for today, I want to first tell you who I am, what we are doing, and how you can get involved. So first of all, if we haven't met yet, I'm Kelly Youngs, the founder of She is Fierce. We are a global women's network that is based right here in North Florida, and we are so excited to be partnering with Baptist and the For Her program there to be bringing about 12-week series and a gorgeous fillable self-care download that covers 12 weeks of your year every Thursday night. And I have been joined by so many incredible experts in all different fields of health, wellness, physical and mental health, all of these different areas. And tonight we have somebody that I'm very excited to talk to because she is not only an expert in psychology, but also in the area of children. So we have some special conversations that I know will touch my heart as a mom, and I hope will be great for you as well. So before I introduce her, make sure you go and actually download and sign up for reminders to join us in the future. You can do that at the link above us. It is sheisfiercehq.com/self-care. And of course, you can also sign up for our gratitude challenge, which will also be above us. And we are right in the middle of that. That's a much shorter challenge this week. And this conversation is the perfect one to have in the middle of a gratitude challenge focused on grace and kindness and gratitude. So now let me introduce you to our special guest. Dr. Michelle Taveras is here with us. And I am so excited to connect with Michelle and to learn from her today. We're going to talk all about how to be kind to yourself and others, how to practice self-care on a daily basis, and we're going to go a little bit deeper. So before we do that, Dr. Michelle, will you please tell everybody a little bit about yourself and what you do at Baptist every day?
Sure. I've been working for Baptist Behavioral Health outpatient for almost 6 years. I specialize in working with children and adolescents, and I have a full outpatient practice.
Wow. So you actually deal with kids with developmental disabilities, couples, grief, depression, anxiety, a lot of things that people are dealing with right now, right? Even more so than normally.
Oh, I've definitely noticed just an increase, collectively speaking, of the stress level. There's more increase in symptoms of anxiety and depression because we're currently living through this pandemic. So people are definitely feeling the burn of it, but collectively, we're also learning to adapt and adjust, which speaks to the resiliency of human nature.
Yeah, so that's such a great point. And I have to say, we have a private Facebook group where we have thousands of women in there. And I've noticed we've had a few people posting lately just saying, like, how is everybody doing? And it seems like either the answer is I'm doing great, I've figured out how to live through this, and I'm actually like thriving and I've, made it all happen, or just straight up struggling, right? There's no real middle ground where people are saying, oh, things are just like they were last year. Like that doesn't seem to be the case for anybody.
That's a good point, Kelly. And that's also reflective in my practice as well. I think what's happening is people still have the ability to deal with stress, and they're starting to doubt themselves because we're living through something that we've never experienced before. Most of us, the younger generation, really struggling with that because there's a lot of self-doubt. Ladies, you have the ability to cope and deal. You've been coping and dealing since the day you hit the earth. So remember that and keep that in mind, and surround yourself with people that are going to lift you up and remind you of things.
Oh my, yes. Okay. We're going to have to hang out together more because I love that. I love that message. And honestly, I think that for sure, She is Fierce, that's what we're all about and what we're always telling people to do. And it's like simple advice, right? But if you don't do those things, you will constantly be like living with that sense of anxiety. If you're not surrounding yourself with the right people, if you're not bringing the right messages into your life, all of those things. So before we get into some of the how do we handle things part, can you talk to us about, what has that experience been for you? as you're dealing with people coming in with different forms of anxiety or maybe layering on things that they've dealt with before, how are you handling that? And what do you say to those people who maybe are just saying, like I shared before, some people are just going, I've given up at this point, right? I don't know what to do with this year and I'm just waiting for next year.
One of the things we try to focus on is what can you control? Because right now there's so many things out of our control. It's really easy to sit here and list off a bunch of things that are out of our control. So we're trying to shift the perspective. So they're looking at a more strength-based perspective. That's going to help to enhance confidence and self-esteem and give them that boost that they're going to need to get that momentum to do the day-to-day activities. It's all there.
Yeah, I love that. I love the idea, you're saying come from a place of strength, right? Even if you're surrounded by all these struggles, come from that place of gratitude, which fits in with this bigger, we are having this big conversation about gratitude right now at She is Fierce. And that's a lot of what we're talking about today. It's like gratitude for yourself, giving yourself time and space, and almost respecting yourself, right? And your children or your partner or whoever enough to treat them with kindness.
And really focusing on what's being done well in the home. Because I think a lot of times when clients and people in general are struggling a lot, it's very simple to fall into that pattern of let's look at the things that need to be done better. Yeah. Step back, stop and think, and ask yourself, what did Johnny do well today? All right, he didn't clean up his room, but he remembered to put his shoes away instead of leaving them right in front of the doorway. That's a big deal.
Yeah.
And those words of encouragement go a long way, and that can actually help to enhance Johnny's self-esteem, and then he can take that and use it for momentum for the next task that you want him to get done.
Okay, so I love that, and I want to go into something that you and I talked a little bit about before we joined on here, and that was this like principle that when you said it, I was like, yeah, that's how we should treat our children, but that's also how we should approach life in general, right? Yeah. And that was this idea of recognizing the person and trying to find the positives in what they're doing and trying to give grace, basically, is my way of saying it. But you said it in a much more structured way. So can you talk about that concept and how, just as, we've been talking over the course of the last few weeks, just as many women who are watching this right now, I can see you, I know you are there, they will be stay-at-home moms, they will have become stay-at-home moms, whether they want to be or not.
Yes.
They'll be working from home. They might have their partner now in the home with them at the same time. And the holidays, right? And we have all these different elements that are pulling on us. So if someone is a mom or they're a caregiver and they're watching this, what is your advice for dealing with not only yourself, we've been talking a lot about self-care, but you can't feel great about yourself if your relationship with your kids is struggling, right?
Right. So I think what you're asking is like, how do moms strengthen themselves so that they can then pass that energy and positivity on to their children? Is that what you're saying?
Absolutely. Well, it's that. And then it's also the second part is how can what are some real strategies that moms can use to handle this? If a child is struggling, if they're hearing negative messages about COVID or the holidays, they're not going to get to do things. If a child is struggling, how can a mom or dad help them through that experience?
First and foremost, you want to try to limit, if possible, contact with negative sources of information. So for example, if you as a family tend to have the TV on often, make sure that I can still hear you, Jean, but I forgot that I have to periodically move my mouse or I get logged out. So just make sure that you are having certain triggers minimized. So minimize the TV watching, especially if it's related to news. Maybe shift it to something like a sitcom or something that has more positive energy. And to go back to the parent for a moment, make sure that you as parents are taking time to do the things that you need to do to feel better about yourself. So if you find that you've, let's say, put off taking a shower or a bath, even though that's something that you really love in the evening, because you're like, I just have so many things to do, I can't do that right now. Not a good idea, ladies and gentlemen. Take time to do that, even if you are taking a shorter bath or shorter shower, because those are things that are going to help you feel structured and it's going to implement more routine for you. The more structure and routine you work to keep, the better you're going to feel. The better you feel, the more in control you are. The more in control you are, the more in control your children's behavior will be. All of this is cyclical and it's tied together. So the times where you're really struggling to figure out, like, why is Johnny not listening to what I'm saying? Ask yourself, what kind of energy are you giving off? Are you giving off energy that you're about to like go from 0 to 60? You know the deal, people. Kids can pick up on that and they will use that to their advantage if they can. So when in doubt, check yourself and ask yourself, do I need a timeout? Do I need to go take a breather? Do I need to go walk around the backyard for a bit until you kind of get yourself collected? Then you come back and you do what needs to get done. And again, structure and routine. That's key.
So I feel like you had so many good things in there to pull from. But first, I want to say that I'm going to make my husband watch this video because I'm always saying to him, think about your energy. And he's like, go away.
No, you have a point.
You do. You really do.
Yeah. A lot of communication is nonverbal. 97% of communication is nonverbal. And kids especially, that's what they're picking up on. So if you've had an exceptionally stressful moment or let's say chunk of the day, do what you need to do to kind of bring yourself down a little bit more to base before you ask them to do like major chores or things like that. Because you're going to be less likely to come across as irritated, annoyed, and it's going to transfer to them. They're going to be like, oh, okay, mom's in a good mood right now. She's smiling. You're going to get more compliance that way. Yeah,
absolutely. So I want to say hi because I know we have people that are joining us. We're streaming this in many different places. So first of all, hi to everyone that is joining us.
Hi, everyone.
And then I want to talk about this idea, which has been consistent. So this is a self-care guide. This is very much about health and wellness, and mental health and physical health. We've been talking about exercise, nutrition, taking care of your mental health, your kind of psychological makeup. And yet the underlying theme of this entire experience and every interview I've had has been about creating habits, creating structure, knowing what you're doing, whether it's for yourself and creating your own self-care, or how, in this example, how you're engaging with your children and creating structure for them. And I know, I think when I was growing up, I always thought like, rules, right? My parents used to be like, did you do your homework? As I was on the way to school, and I would do my homework the class before to hand in. I never, sorry to my parents, I'm telling them all their dirty baggage, but I remember always thinking that that's a negative thing, right? Oh, parents that have all this structure, it's such a negative experience. And yet as a parent, I think, how did I grow up? Like where was that structure, right? Because if we didn't have structure in our house, I think it would just be sheer chaos. But I was an only child. Maybe one child you can control without structure. I don't know.
No, you probably had structure, but the thing is, oftentimes parents can do it in such a way that doesn't feel like restrictive or imposed. It just is. It becomes part of the natural way of being for you and your family.
Okay, so now you're complimenting my parents as I'm criticizing them. So I'm going to go back to
shout out to Kelly's parents.
Well, we'll see. I'll come back to them.
But yeah, and so the more experience a parent has, the more likely they're going to be to just kind of naturally infuse the structure and routine into the schedule. And that's actually most helpful because who wants to be thinking like, I'm feeling really restricted, or they're just waiting for that shoe to drop, regardless of the child's age. Nobody likes that because that's a form of like micromanaging. And you know the deal as adults, like who likes to be micromanaged? Nobody.
Yeah. Okay. So, in keeping with that thought, we have been talking about, taking care of ourselves, creating positive habits. Part of that is like the bigger picture of what's happening in the world right now, right? So I know if you turn on the news right now, there's all this messaging around don't travel, don't see your family, try to stay connected virtually, but not like the message is basically stay connected, but don't go near each other, right?
Stay connected, but don't. And then
Yes.
people say, what am I supposed to do? And there's more anxiety associated with that because we're getting kind of mixed signals here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so what is your recommendation? I guess it's a two-part question for you. I've got all these like, tell us how to solve everybody's issues. But what is your recommendation for people, whether it's, a woman who's watching this and is thinking, yes, but I'm just desperate to get together with my mom, or, my grandparent has been alone for X number of months and they need somebody.
Yeah.
Or maybe a mom who's talking to children who just don't understand. In addition to the medical advice of be careful, don't come together,
Yeah, I'm not even going to touch that.
I think people know what the responsible things to do are, right? We've all seen the report.
Right.
But what do you recommend in terms of how, the most important part and the reason people aren't following the rules is because it's hard, right? It's hard. And psychologically, we have to build ourselves up to do that.
Yeah.
What do you recommend for people that are like just struggling and really still want to enjoy the holidays?
Bottom line, and I mean, you might be expecting more, but I'm going to break it down for you. Do what you want to do. And then figure out how can I get this thing that I want to do done and feel safe and feel like I'm protecting my family. Like that's the end goal. The end goal is you want to be able to live your life and still feel like you're doing what you need to do to protect your family. So it might mean that you're doing some brainstorming. Like, let's say, okay, you want to go see Granny and you haven't seen her like since March. And let's say you want one of the kids to go with you. All right. So you sit down with your family and all of you kind of brainstorm together. Who's going to go with me to see Granny? Okay. So you pick the person that's going. Let's say Sally's going to go. All right. So you're figuring out how can we keep Sally and myself protected and grandma too. So you're implementing a lot of the things you've already been doing for the past X amount of months. You got your PPE, you got your sanitizer, all that good stuff. And then let's say Granny lives alone. Okay, that's going to give you more control because you're not going to have to be thinking about all these different people. So you ask Granny, when's peak time of the day for Granny? When's her energy level the highest? When is she feeling really good? That's when you're going to want to be more likely to do something like that. Now, let's throw in another element to the equation. Let's say Granny really wants to see you too, but she's feeling really skittish about having visitors over. FaceTime, Zoom, doing things like that. Or you could even have where Granny opens the door and you and Sally do kind of like a drive-by, but you're not still rolling in the car. You just kind of stop there and you're talking to her from a safe distance where you all feel safe. You're still getting that opportunity to socialize. And there's still a lot of psychological benefit to that. Granted, let's remember, everybody, it's not going to be the same. So we're not shooting for the same. We're looking for adaptation, but that's going to help you promote more cognitive flexibility. It's going to be easier for you to figure out alternate ways to get what you want. Remember, what is it that you want? And then you align your steps with that.
Okay. I love that advice. And I think that just taking it back to your original statement and your final statement of what is it that you want? So when you first said that, I was like, well, people shouldn't do whatever they want, obviously, right? And yet, what you're really talking about is like, what is your internal motivation, right? So what is it that you really want? You just want to feel connected, or you just want to have that moment. And so kind of taking it down to that level and giving people the opportunity to create their own version of that, right?
Exactly. Because we're not saying and it's good that you're bringing that up. I am not saying like, hey, just go willy-nilly and do whatever the heck you want. We're saying be mindful of what you want and also implement those strategies that's going to help you feel safe. It's going to help grandma or your other relatives feel safe so that everyone feels like they're being respected and their wishes are being accounted for. That's really important. Bottom line, communication. When you're going to visit someone, ask them, hey, so-and-so, how do you want to work this out? How will you feel most comfortable? When's the best time for us to do this? Brainstorm.
I like it. Put your brains to work. Make it happen. All right. So, so with that in mind, and you did touch on this a little bit earlier, you know, and I want to say that this is also part of our broader conversation. So anybody who's come to us, which I know I see some familiar names through She Is Fierce, will know we've been talking all about gratitude. I was on this morning talking about gratitude, and part of that is kindness, right? And that's one of our themes within this self-care download. It's about being kind to yourself and being kind to others. So those, I think, come from similar places, but they are different. And especially, I know as women in particular, we tend to see where we should be kind to others and not take time to be kind to ourselves. And then we struggle because we don't want to be kind to others because we're not happy because we're not being kind to ourselves, right? And as you said before, this weird cycle that we're creating for ourselves. So as we all come into not only the holiday season and kids at home and all the things I said before, I love, you know, you said this and we've had a few other speakers that have said this, like take time to have a shower, right? Those kinds of examples sound so simple, but what are some strategies that you maybe talk to your patients about to say, when they say, I'm guessing, they might come in and say, yes, that sounds great when you say it, but I have to do this, 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 and this, and there is no time, right? Or nobody else wants to support me in that, or all the reasons why something is hard, and not to discount that things are hard for people, but how can they still choose to be kind to themselves?
I would say pick one thing that you're like, you know, I would really like to do this thing, but I think that I haven't had time to do it. And engage in that thing for 5 to 10 minutes. Make time in your day. Because I heard you say, like, you know, they don't have time. And yes, a lot of my clients do say that. Here's the bottom line. We make time for the things that we want to do. We make time to talk to the people that we want to talk to. We make time to scroll through Facebook feeds and put things on Twitter. So we do have time. So if you shift your frame of thinking to we have time as opposed to we don't, you'd be amazed of how much more mental clarity you're going to have. And that's going to help you create time to do it.
Yes, I love. Okay, so you brought up a topic again that wasn't even in our plan to talk about, but has been another consistent thing, right? So building strong habits, having some sense of structure in your life, but also getting a little bit of control over technology, right? Okay. Can you talk about that principle? Because honestly, I feel like that is almost like the number one way you can be kind to yourself is like get some control over how much control your phone has over you, you know?
If you find
I have not solved that problem, so I will suck in your wisdom.
So maybe this could help you out. If you find yourself thinking, oh my goodness, where did my time go when you're putting your phone down? That's your body telling yourself, hey, Kelly, you might want to step away from the phone for a bit. So you have to like literally hold yourself accountable and listen to yourself. Now, let's say your body isn't sending you memos because your body's enjoying the surfing. If your friends or family are like giving you side eye and like kind of nudging you like, hey, mom, I need you to do X, Y, and Z, get up, put the phone away. I would say put it out of sight, out of mind type thing. Yeah. Put it on do not disturb, put it on silent. Twitter, Facebook, it's going to be there when you're done. Once the kids are in bed, then you have a little bit more time to kind of really enjoy what you're looking at on social media. Because otherwise, a lot of times you're just scrolling. You might not even be registering half of that information.
Yeah, I think you're 100% right. And even, you know, for me, my struggle is more around just doing work, right? Mm-hmm. And so I think that, first of all, that's such good advice. And then secondly, I know for me, one of the things I've tried to do is put it down in the evening. Right. So obviously we're doing something right now on video, but I've tried. I'm not always successful, but I've tried to put it down in the evening and just say, it doesn't matter. Like this person doesn't actually need to hear from me at 7:30 at night. Right. Mm-hmm. It doesn't matter if I get back to them. Yeah. And I think recognizing and creating those boundaries for yourself, it goes back to your original idea of habits and structure and creating boundaries, which is a way of being kind to yourself.
Absolutely. And then when you think you're being kind to yourself, you're going to feel better and you're going to transmit that kindness to whoever you interact with.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Yes. So, yeah, I mean, I can speak to that in my own experience of what I was just saying. It's like the whole evening, and I think especially every mom that's on here will know the way, however the mom's day is going is how everyone else's day is going, right?
You're the setter. You're the matriarch of the family. You're the core. So, whether you want that responsibility and that title or not,
Yeah,
that's
it's
how
how,
it's going. So you have to think of it that way. And part of what you're doing is you're addressing your family as a team. You want to promote that teamwork. You have to be the one to kind of set the tone, to
yeah.
boost the morale.
All right, so I'm going to pose a really tough question to you. Joni is on here, and she asked a really good question. I have been talking about moms, like, because I'm a mom of a 6-year-old and 8-year-old, so that's what my framework is in my head. She said, can you give some recommendations for teenagers? So teenagers who might be struggling with all the things, or teenagers who, maybe are hard to deal with right now. What are your recommendations for moms that are just like, I don't know how to deal with this?
Well, Joni, if you have like a more specific question that you want me to answer, definitely put it out there. But I'm gonna work on this piece of it. What I would say is, if there's something that you're wanting them to do instead of what they're doing, suggest it. Be like, hey, why don't we spend some time sitting down and playing a board game or watching your favorite show on Netflix, and you join him with that. And here's another thing that I really want you guys to keep in mind. Model the behavior that you want them to exhibit. So for example, if you want your teenage son to put the phone away, then you yourself are also putting the phone away. Something like that could be implemented through a mealtime. If you want your teenage son to put the stuff down, don't have it on the table on your end either.
Yeah, such a good idea.
Compliance. You have to think of it that way.
So, first of all, I love those ideas. Second of all, I want to say, so Joni did add some notes, and I want to make sure we respect that and answer. So she's saying, what about ideas to combat depression from isolation during COVID, kids and teenagers, And I think this goes to what kind of one of our final comments is going to be, which is, we're all dealing with different levels, right? And as I said previously, some people in our Facebook group are like, no, I'm doing great. I've solved world problems in 2020. And then other people are like, it's terrible. I'm feeling depressed. I've never been in this, low place before. Yeah. And of course, that's going to be even more potent for kids, right? And teenagers in particular. So can I pose that really tough question to you?
Sure. What the core that I would recommend is family, communication in the family, spending time as a family. So encouraging your teenager to come out to the common areas. Let them pick the movie that you want to watch. Give them more a sense of like that they're part of the team. And call them out. Like if you notice that your son or daughter is spending like inordinate amounts of time in the room, tell them, look, hey, Sally, you know what? You've been in here already for like 80% of the day. I'd really like you to come out. I miss seeing your beautiful face, put in some positive stuff there and then give them something that you'd like them to do and tell them we can do this together. And then when we're done with this, you can kind of decide what you want to do next, because it might mean that they need more time and attention from you. And listen, a lot of people are feeling isolated. And the thing is, they try to pull other options. If you're isolated and if I say, hey, yeah, go out and make more friends, we can't do that right now. Yeah. So work with the people that are around you. Implement the family as a way of like strengthening confidence and self-esteem and really getting that morale up as a family. Now, if that doesn't work, Joni, you can engage the rest of the family in something that you want your son or daughter to do and just kind of see what your son or daughter does with it. Try to like make it sound super fun so that they're going to be tempted to step out of their room and be like, hey, what's going on over there? Even if they don't participate, they might be more likely to come out and look, give them time to kind of decide what they want to do with that. And then you can say, yeah, you want to join us? Come on. We have space for you right here.
Yeah, I love that. And I think, of course, especially depending on what the situation is, it can be many stages, right, to get to a level of success or to feel comfortable. Yeah. But I think that of course, you're the expert. So of course your ideas are great. Joni is saying those are awesome ideas, and thank you so, so much.
Thank you, Joni. Kelly, your ideas are awesome too.
Well, and I think that, the incredible women that are watching this now and all the women that I know and men that hopefully will watch this later, I hope that they will take some of your wisdom away and really put those into practice, because we've talked about a lot of different things, but there are some basic principles that you're coming back to, right? About just being being kind to yourself, creating that sense of structure. And then one of the things that I wanted to make sure to ask you, which is a perfect kind of end to Joni's original question, is when people are dealing with different levels, right? So when somebody is struggling, whether it's your teenager or whether it's yourself, if someone's feeling a bit depressed, or maybe they've never been depressed before and they don't know, is this depression or am I just feeling down? I mean, I know I lived in England because my husband's English, and I had a roommate who would just get really down in the winter. And I would be deeply concerned about her. And she would be like, it's fine. It'll be fine. When summer comes, I'll be happy again. And I just had no idea how to handle that, right? Yeah. So what do you recommend for moms who are, either for themselves, it doesn't have to be a mom, so anybody who's considering themselves and thinking, I don't know where I kind of fit on that scale. Am I just down and I just need to keep going and put some of these things we talked about into practice? Or do I really need to seek additional help? How can people make that decision?
That's a really good question. I'm going to direct you to the National Institute of Mental Health's website, and actually their direct website is nimh.nih.gov. And if you want, you could just Google. It's a lot easier to Google it.
We'll put it in the comments too.
Okay, National Institute of Mental Health. If you Google that and you click on the first link, they have an excellent website. They have a bunch of PDFs about all the different psychological disorders. They have a short pamphlet on depression in women. They also have one for men and teenagers. If you read through that and you're like, I don't know, I'm still having trouble really deciphering, contact primary care doctor. They're the first point of reference, and they can help to make appropriate referrals. We get a ton of referrals from primary care through the Baptist network in Jacksonville and the surrounding counties. So they would be a great source of information. Women, if you have a better rapport with your GYNs, that's another excellent resource right there. Oftentimes, a lot of these providers are using the PHQ-9, which is a depression screener, and the GAD-7, which is an anxiety screener, and that can give them some really good information. You can also Google the PHQ-9 and the GAD-7, and there's different versions out there, so please be mindful of that. If it looks sketch, it probably is. And then you can take that short screener and it'll give you a little bit of an idea, and then you can contact your primary care doctor and say, hey, look, I took this preliminary screener for depression or anxiety and I scored pretty high on it. I'd like to schedule an appointment.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so I love that, and I want to say, I am not a doctor, so bear that in mind. But my question to you is, I always would think it's scary to think if somebody is self-diagnosing and they are either going over the top and being terrified that they're suffering deep depression, or are they, are they like ticking the box that just lets them just pass the test, right? So I love your advice about just, if you're not sure, go to your primary care doctor, go to your OBGYN, and just ask for help, right?
Yeah. I mean, when our car is messed up, most of us are not going to like sit there and Google like, oh, it's making like a rattling noise. Like, what could this be? If we don't know, go to people who know. You have really good rapport with your providers, or you should. And I mean, let them do the legwork. That's what we're here for.
I love that. Okay, so I know Jean, the wonderful Jean, who is behind the scenes here, posted the link so that anybody who needs to access that can do that. And you can do that for yourself. You can do that for the teenagers or the kids in your life, or your partner, or whoever you care about, you think needs a little bit of extra support, and kind of put them on the right path, right?
Yeah. And you can also check out Baptist Baptist's website, and we have, I mean, it is a very well done website, and you can click on, I believe it's providers or the doctors tab, and then you can scroll down to behavioral health, and you could read about what we provide. If you want to get connected through our services, our general number is there as well, and we can help you out from this end. Or you can contact your insurance provider and ask for a list of providers, mental health providers, that are within network, and you can set yourself up that way as well.
Yeah, I'm grateful to you for talking about that, and I'm grateful to Joni for asking those more in-depth questions, because I think, I hope that all the things we talked about, if somebody's just struggling with a little bit of anxiety or just overwhelm, right, which I think most people are struggling with some version of overwhelm, even if things are going well for them right now.
Yes.
And so I think some of the things that we talked about, those are great practices to handle that. But if they are really struggling and they need help, those tools are really powerful. So I'm grateful to you. I'm grateful to Joni for sharing that. And I want to make sure before we close out, and I have one more important question for you, Michelle.
Sure.
Before I do that, I want to make sure to tell everybody, you can keep joining me for these phenomenal interviews and speakers every Thursday, all the way up until Christmas. All you have to do is go to the link, which I think is above us. It is sheisfiercehq.com/self-care. And if you want to, you can also jump into our She is Fierce Gratitude Challenge. We are on day 2. You can join us wherever you are and do the things however you want to. It's really about just taking a moment and a week on the kind of lead up to Thanksgiving and celebrating and being grateful and finding grace in all the things that we've been doing, just as we've been talking about here today. So important note, you can always tag me, tag She is Fierce, tag Baptist for her. I don't know. I feel like Dr. Michelle Taveras probably has a lot going on, but you can tag the rest of us and we will do our best to answer your questions. Or, if you are doing some of the things that we talked about and you need a little bit of extra help and you're watching this tomorrow night or a week from now, don't worry, you can still tag us. Just make sure you tag us so that we know and we can come and help you. Mm-hmm. So that is my final comment. And now, can I ask you, as we close out, do you have any final just words of wisdom that you want to share with women who are watching this and maybe feeling that overwhelm, feeling that anxiety, or something a little bit deeper?
Trust yourself, trust your intuition, trust your ability to get things done. Think of a time in your life where you were going through a really difficult time, whatever it was that was happening. Granted, it probably wasn't a pandemic. Remember, this is a very different situation, but the underpinnings are similar. So you still have all of those abilities to handle stress. It's just that this stress is different, right? So let's pull from the tools that you guys already have. You don't have to reinvent the wheel.
Yeah, I love that. And exactly as you said, sometimes it's like going back and finding that strength within yourself, which you have found in some other
there. Yeah. You just got to dust it off and allow it to continue to grow and foster. That's key here. I mean, and if you need help, ask for it. There's help in every way that you need, especially with good old Google nowadays. Ask for help. You don't have to take all of this on yourself.
Yeah, that's a beautiful way to end it. And I think, as you said, it's also okay, call Baptist, call the National Institutes of Mental Health, call whoever you have to call if you need that help and you don't have it in your existing social circle, right? Mm-hmm. All right. So first of all, thank you to everybody who joined us live. We were so grateful. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much.
And thank you so much, Dr. Taveras, for joining me. It's been a pleasure, and I've really enjoyed chatting with you tonight.
Likewise, Kelly.
Thank you. Bye, guys.